That's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like the average climber probably doesn't really think about the aesthetics that much. They are thinking about it, but they don't know that they're thinking about
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
And that's what I think defines a really good setter, is that it should feel like it's not even a factor.
Oh! Welcome to Friday morning route setting. We'll be setting new boulders on the 5 and 30 degree overhanging walls. This is part 2 in our route setting series. Let's see how Gage is planning out the day.
A yellow on this so that we fill out that space a little bit more, and then we'll come and join you guys on the other side. You guys are starting with your 4-5, right? Low profile only, low profile volumes. So that'll replace the other purple that was on the wall there with your new purple. We've got 2 4-5s. We've got 101, which we can just throw up later. I think it would be really formative if you guys actually set like a timer on your phone. Me and Lane will do the same thing. 25 minutes seems like a good place to be for throwing up your skeleton for your routes. All right, sweet. Yeah, you guys can grab your volumes. We'll work with the big stuff here and get to work. Good deal. Break.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, welcome to the back zone. I'm going to try and manhandle this thing up to the 30 or to the 5 degree, and we'll try and see how me and Lane can put these things up. Again, the bigger the volume, typically the harder this thing is to work with, but I'm thinking if we just put up 2 really big high power volumes on that wall, we can fill out the space and create some cool dynamics to work with for a larger, more impressive route, and then just work some small stuff in around it so we can join them on the 30 degree and work from there.
Good deal.
That's the plan.
So how are you deciding like how many routes to put up on a particular wall? Is it like a certain amount of routes per square foot?
So typically we've gotten a pretty good like center for how filled the walls should be for the most part. We've broken up for the setting process the wall into distinct chunks. So you could see like from this to the edge of the 5 degree, we would consider one chunk. This vertical face would be one chunk. And so what we try and do most mornings when we set is we'll alternate between setting on this side of the wall and on the other side of the wall. So we'll kind of ping pong back and forth. So today it's the 30 degree and this 5 degree because we set this big thing last time, but next week we'll set the slab. The weekend after that we'll set the 45 degree, and then we'll keep moving our way back and forth. So
kind of a rotation.
Yeah, exactly. And so for route density, having set these walls 3 or 4 times at this point in the year that Fargo climbing has been open, we kind of understand how many routes should fit in the space within a small range, and what it should look like for how filled the wall should be. So like a really good example is for this vertical face here, the wall seems really filled. There's a lot of good stuff on the wall, but it's not super cluttered. We've noticed though that on the left side of this vertical face, there's a really decent chunk of space between this orange and coming up into the volume where there could be something else. And so although we have replaced every route one for one from what was on the wall last time, we've noticed that there's space to work with, and routes change and they're really dynamic. So what we're gonna do is retroactively come back and we're gonna throw something easier up in that space to kind of fill out what we're looking for.
Sure.
So for the most part, it's really one-to-one at this point. We've figured out what we wanna have on the walls so that it doesn't look overwhelming to people who are trying to climb on it.
Right.
But you know, there's really room to be flexible with it, depending on the volumes that we're using in the space, depending on the holds that we're using, the hold sets. It can really vary, but for the most part, we'll stay within 1 to 2 and try for the most part to replace grades with grades that are on the wall.
Sure.
So if we've taken down something really easy, it's really important to put up something easy too, to keep the distribution of routes in the gym available for everybody to climb on.
Yeah.
So it's skewed towards the easier side, of course, because most people who are climbing here find themselves within the 3 to 4 to 5 range for holds. So we need to have a plethora of really good warm-up routes, things that are fun for people to climb that keep them engaged, but then being able to sprinkle in some projects for people to work on and some harder stuff so that they can challenge themselves if they want to, is kind of where we come from.
So how many routes will be going up on this wall?
So on this wall, we're gonna put up 3.
The 5 degree?
Yep. So this section of the wall, we're going to put up 2 really large volumes, which will bring some dynamic, movement to the space. It'll change up the vertical wall and kind of give us some dimension to work with coming out. So there'll be probably one really big, impressive, you know, hopefully a classic route for people to work on this face, and then hopefully set some easy stuff, some warm-up boulders, or even a jug ladder or two for really beginner or children level climbers.
Yeah.
With the summer camps that are starting up in a week or two, it's really important that we have a lot of easier things on the wall for the smaller kids camps. We want to have something for everybody. So those three will go there, and then one extra route on this vertical face that we had been talking about, which will most likely be the yellow hold sets, because we don't have anything yellow on that wall, and it'll put some color into it. And then we'll head around the corner and work with them on the 30 and see what they're coming up with.
Cool.
That's the
Sounds
plan.
Good.
Sweet.
All right, so we're gonna hang out here with Gage and Lane for a bit, keep an eye on what they're doing. We'll continue to show the route setting process, so here we go. This is getting a giant volume on a wall 101.
Cut the tape, cut the tape. Don't show this, don't show this.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah,
Where do you
I'm
guys
gonna
get
take
your
a look.
climbing holds? Is this like a specific brand?
These are all Kilter.
And then these are Nicros.
And then yeah, those are Nicros.
Yeah.
Kilter.
What's the like life span of a hold? Is it something you actually have to
in our
cycle out?
gym, a long time.
Yeah.
Just because we're smaller, so they see less wear. But in like big gym in like a metropolis like Minneapolis, maybe like a year.
Like at a Minneapolis bouldering project or
Yeah,
something.
it's gonna be a lot less.
And
And
what's
they
wearing
get
out?
like
Is it
they get worn out, and
the
then
texture on it?
yeah, the texture goes. They get like chipped, and I mean the cool thing is I guess if the texture goes and you can still clean it okay, you can just put it up and it's kind of textureless.
Becomes a dual tex hold or something.
Yeah, yeah, it transforms.
This is a conversation with Gage on route aesthetics.
One of the big things to keep in mind is that although holds can be the same color, they not always are the same style of hold.
Okay.
So we have a hold shaped like this is pretty distinct. You know, we have a nice edge on it. It's relatively smooth, but another purple hold like this has a lot of natural texturing facing. It's more pocket oriented. It's different stylistically than you would expect from this. So to have both of these on a route at the same time can sometimes be distracting or take away from the overarching theme. In this purple specifically, all of the holds are of the same, you know, type. They all kind of fit the same thematic representation, and because of that, we wouldn't want to put a route together that shares something that's like super blocky with something that's super rounded or naturally faced. So when we're deciding what we're going to set, we always want to make sure that we're keeping a theme and a style at the same time. So especially like with what we're doing here, all of these rails fit really thematically with one another. They're all the same style, they're all the same hold type.
These orange ones here.
Yeah, so all of these super thin rails. So we'll try and set primarily with those. So keep a bulk of the route with all of the rails that we want to use. And that way we can keep a big aesthetic theme to what we're setting. So things don't look disjointed or like they don't fit with one another. Because you need the route to be readable and look good to some extent. You know, it's what draws people to the route is how it looks, how they interpret what the movement looks like. And so for newer climbers, they're drawn to flashy problems, big colors, things that look like they would be fun to climb. So it's a fun balance between what things look like and how they climb, needing to kind of meet and marry in the middle sometimes. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like the average climber probably doesn't really think about the aesthetics that much. They are thinking about it, but they don't know that they're thinking about it.
Exactly. And that's what I think defines a really good setter is that it should feel like it's not even a factor. But
Yeah.
it plays a huge role in how we put problems up on the wall. Is we want the climber to not even think about why they're climbing the problem. You know,
Yeah.
like, oh, this just looks fun, or oh, this looks really pretty on the wall. There are certain problems where we'll set a move and we'll be like, oh, it climbs really well, but it doesn't look that good on the wall. Like, things will look super spaced out or disjointed, and it doesn't give this cohesive feel. And that, more times than not, will actually dissuade a climber from trying it. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's just how the problem looks. They'd be like, oh, I'd much rather climb something that looks really cool or really fun. So even for like example, on that green route, on the slab face right there, those blocker holds that sit on the top of a lot of the slab holds really offer no change in how the route is climbed.
Sure.
The route would climb the exact same even if those little blocker pieces weren't sitting on top of it. But we put those there to build a theme. We keep it making it look like these are natural seams that you're climbing through, and it puts the idea in people's heads. They're like, wow, like this would look really cool to climb on. Like, I wonder how I would feel inside of these seams and these fingers. At the end of the day, that route was set without those blocker holds on the top of it. Like a little secret, you know, it doesn't need to be there.
And so those were added kind of.
And those were added as an aesthetic choice at the end of the route.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
See, because I've climbed that one over there, and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Exactly, and you don't even think
of
about it. Right, exactly. So that's a big thing to keep in mind when we're putting stuff up, is we just want people to see it and to be drawn towards it. That's the first thing. They walk in the door, they see the route, and then they climb the route.
Yeah.
You know, it's always the eyes kind of eat first before the hands.
For sure.
This has been a conversation with Gage on route aesthetics.
We got the one hold, and it's pretty big. And I don't really want to put it up here because it kind of gets in the way because it protrudes so much. But would like to use it, and so there's really only one spot for it to get actually used, which is at the bottom. So it goes on the bottom. I feel like encouraging this start is kind of cool because then it frees up your foot, so you can like do a foot placement out here onto something, and then
Usually you guys will mark things with kind of a grade range. Is there strategy behind that?
the range is kind of nice. It's like flexible, and also then I don't get a lot of people coming to me saying that this isn't the grade, because I'm like, well, choose what you want. You want it to be a 4 or 5 or a 6, go for it. Like, yeah, choose. That heel might be too bad, and then it might encourage them to take the easier route, which would be up to the corner of this.
What's your decision making right now?
Well, there's always going to be beta breaks, right?
Right.
I mean, a V10 climber could break any V3 Boulders beta, but the job that we're trying to do is just encourage the easiest route possible. Not throwing in a move that's so much harder when if you just climb the volume, it'll be way easier.
So if you put terrible holds on the volume, people are just going to bypass
they'll
that.
just use the volume instead because it's easier.
Yeah.
So
No route survives the climber.
Yeah.
That's the one thing to keep in mind. No route survives the climber.
Yeah.
There will always be somebody who's like, oh, I just did it this way. You're like,
Right.
"What?"
I think it's so funny when you like watch competitions. The commentators are always like talking about what the route setters intended versus what they didn't.
And
you know?
there's so much of that where it's like, that's the cool thing about showing up at the gym so often and being able to interact with climbers is you see what people are doing. And so setting for the community is really cool in that I'll know how certain people climb eventually.
Right.
So I can think about it and be like, oh, well, maybe people are just going to do this instead of what I intend for them to do. And then sometimes you're pleasantly surprised or unpleasantly surprised if things get broken how you don't want them to be. But, you know, it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
It's really part of the fun.
Okay, we'll check back in with these guys in a minute. Let's see what's happening over on the other side of the gym here.
What if we had like a foot here, foot over there? Yeah. You think that's gonna be harder?
I think it's harder.
Okay.
I think where the feet are at right now is good.
Yeah. Maybe like a side crimp.
So tell me about this blue route that you're setting.
So we're gonna try and set a 3-4.
Okay.
It might be harder than a 3-4.
It seems like all the routes going up today are hard routes.
Yeah, I mean, we have good intentions to try and set easy routes, but sometimes they just end up harder than they end up being. But yeah, we're gonna try and make it a little easier. But with these blue holds, we can't we're not going to be able to throw on these big guys because this is going to be the low profile wall today. So we're really only limited to these hold
Just
selections
small,
over
kinda
here.
Like,
Yeah.
like more crimps than anything.
Yeah, we're gonna try and set like a pocket crimp 3/4.
Okay.
We'll probably just have to like scatter a bunch of these like crimps on,
Yeah.
just so they can have like a bunch of options. But yeah,
How's it coming along so far?
I think it's going well. We just need to get some more holds on. But yeah,
Yeah.
the first movement down, we're gonna be kind of like pulling in right here. We're gonna be like here. We're gonna like try and cross to this crimp or this pocket, and then stab out to like a crimp. Like setting right away, you know, we're not gonna be able to figure out if it goes until we start forerunning later, which will be soon, in maybe like 30 minutes. So
Sounds good.
yeah, we're gonna get this guy up. We'll maybe throw up like a 0-1, because we did take down a 0-1 here, so we'll have to throw one up after. But
Now, with your kind of route setting schedule, how frequently is a route getting changed, or like how long does it get left up for?
I think it's like a 12-week cycle. Chris can correct me if I'm wrong.
So does 12 weeks seem like a pretty good amount of time? Like gives people time if they want to project something, keeps things fresh too.
I would say that, yeah, because then, you know, there's gonna be like new areas of the wall cycle, new routes set up every week, sometimes we come in and like just set like one route throughout the week.
Yeah.
But and then Parker was working on this black one yesterday.
The Burden of Dreams replica.
The Burden of Dreams replica.
Nice.
Not as hard as the original Burden of Dreams, but
The one thing I would say is I think it'd be sick if this is like a pivot point.
yeah. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7, 8. We have 8 crimps. Let's make it finish on a pocket though. I'm thinking like
I feel, yeah, that's good.
like right here. Touch with your left. Oh yeah, that'll be good.
Do I see a double pocket ending there, or
Yeah, just because it's kind of bad,
Yeah.
so we're just gonna make him finish on these 2 holds.
finish on 2?
Yeah,
Nice.
that'll be cool.
Maybe a little harder than some of the other walls we have in the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet this would be good on like a vert wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect 3/4 slab route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think the blue one's gonna be a 3/4.
I think it's gonna be
I
harder
think it's
than
gonna
that.
be
Yeah.
harder,
It kind of looks like it.
Yeah. But
So if people want some hard routes to climb, come over to Fargo Climbing.
yep, where we try and set easy stuff, but we accidentally set hard stuff.
Right. Makes sense.
Yep.
Maybe you can tell me about your progress over here.
Yeah, so we've finished up the skeletons for the orange and the white right now, and I'm trying to really just do like an art piece 0-1 for people right now.
Yeah.
I want it to almost feel like fish scales going up the wall is kind of how I'm envisioning this piece. We have, 20, 30 of these just like super nice, super deep pocketed holds. You can fit your entire hand all the way through this. So at any point, no matter what people are grabbing, they're still going to be working their way up the same difficulty of hold. Now I just want to put them on the wall in a way that attracts people to warm up on it. So that's the goal right now. From there, we'll start on these 2 hands and just arc up, finish on those 2 hands up top.
I like it.
Yeah,
Anything else going up on this wall, or just these 3?
just these 3 I think is what we're gonna be working with.
Yeah.
We're gonna retune. There's the blue route in the corner, and you can see we've kind of dismantled the start of it. So we'll keep the chimney style. We wanted it to be something where you're really palming into it and staying tight in the corner. And so we should be able to keep that pretty coherent and just connect it back up into the start of it. And then work around the volume. That's the big thing. So we hit the pocket left hand, right? One to the right or one to the left, yeah. They're probably gonna pull.
Through left hand to the pocket.
They should, but they're probably gonna pull right and have to match in it. And then they stab the foot and then they bend down and match there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh! That's the family dynamic right there. That's we're in tune. The wavelengths we've assembled. See? You can do that. And that forces like a cheeky little balance move.
Okay, so it's time to start the forerunning process. We're gonna test the routes out, see if they go, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.